lecture series on post-colonialism. In the last session, we had a discussion on the concept of colonialism. This session deals with the concepts of imperialism, neo-colonialism, and decolonization. What is imperialism? Is there any difference between colonialism and imperialism? Colonialism is a practice where one group of people are subjugated by another group of people. It is the appropriation of land and resources from another part of the world by a power through conquest, that is, physically conquering another man's land and exploiting his resources. Imperialism is derived from the word imperium, which means absolute power. It denotes the practice of governance of Asian or African nations through remote control. This does not require an actual settlement in the non-European spaces. The European or American powers control the military, financial, social, political, and cultural activities in Asia, Africa, or South America. It also refers to a system of economic domination and exploitation, even though military and political domination may accompany the economic one. Imperialism is thus an ideology that recommends, furthers, and justifies colonial rule. It situates the Asian or African nations in the periphery, with the power resting on the European center. Imperialism is a theory and colonialism is a practice, and both are based on racial differences. Imperialism broadly refers to the control exercised by the Asian or European powers, either formally or informally, directly or indirectly, politically or economically. Colonialism usually refers to a formal political control involving territorial annexation and loss of sovereignty. What is neocolonialism? Neocolonialism is a modern form of old colonialism. It is the control of less developed countries by developed countries using indirect means. The term was first used by Jean-Paul Sartre in the year 1956, though its origins can be found in Leninism. The term was also used by Kwame Nkrumah, the leader of Ghana, in 1965. Vasily Vajrushev defines neocolonialism as a new hidden colonial policy administered by the imperialist countries for monetary, political, or military gain. Even though colonialism has ended, the influence of colonialism still remains. This is done by strengthening and reinforcing the capitalist ideologies. Even though colonialism has ended, the influence of colonialism still continues. Economic influence of the imperialist countries still continues. Mostly, this is achieved not only through the state controlled by European or American powers. This is achieved by a nexus between the economic, the nation state, and the business houses, which are often accompanied by insidious threats of trade sanctions and military action. Let us see how the banking and funding organizations assist imperialist countries in furthering neocolonialism. The World Bank and the International Monetary Fund are instruments of imperialism. The central function of these institutions is to draw the world countries tightly into capitalist economy dominated by the West. Neocolonialism is achieved by connecting the economics of the newly independent countries with the economics of the imperialist countries, and it rests on such financial, organizations like the World Bank and the IMF that the West created. The loans and aids that the West offers to the less developed countries are not with the aim of assisting them with their development, but to control and to dominate them. Thus, the imperialist countries act like colonial powers, and this behavior is linked to colonialism in the post-colonial period. Instead of military or political conquest, the West employs financial policies through the IMF and the World Bank to dominate the less developed countries. How do the politicians and governments in the third world countries help the imperialist powers in achieving neo-colonialism? Old regimes had many comprador governments whose sympathies lie with the former colonizers. They are the native elite trained and educated by the colonizers, whose interests are usually at divergence with their own people. The colonizers use these people to exploit the Asian and African countries. Even after the colonizers left the colonies, they have a direct influence on these free and independent countries, not only through economic policies, but through the works and influence of these native elites that they leave behind. What is the role of multinationals in achieving neo-colonialism? Multinationals are fundamental units of imperialism in the contemporary neo-colonial stage. Their activities are hugely concentrated in the third world countries, where they amass huge investment and get raw materials for their own markets. The operation of the multinationals is an extension of the colonial attachment of Britain and France in Asia and Africa, and the economic influence of US in Latin America. Most of these multinationals are headquartered in capitalist industrialized countries like US, UK, Germany, France and Canada, and they have affiliates in the third world countries. The major interest of these multinationals, like any other business organization, is the achievement of their business aim, and it mainly rests on the repatriation and exploration of profits and resources. For those who think that years of colonial rule has ended, neo-colonialism is a new kind of colonialism which reinforces the survival of the colonial system, which dominates or controls the once colonized countries through indirect means. This is achieved by using new forms of economic, social, political, military and technological means. For example, the main interest of USA in the invasion of Iraq in 2003 was monetary, for oil. Neocolonialism is thus a more insidious and dangerous form of colonialism. Now let's move on to the concept of decolonization. What is decolonization? Decolonization is a process whereby the non-white nations and ethnic groups in Asia, Africa and South America strive to secure economic, intellectual and political freedom from the European masters. The traditional definition of decolonization is that it is a process by which the countries become legally independent of their colonizers and be known as sovereign nations. This would mean the possession of a constitution, a flag and an equal status among other nations in the United Nations Organization. This definition is labeled as traditional because it focuses only on the changes of the political system, that is, independence. It does not include the social, cultural and literary implications of these changes. Decolonization could also mean the conscious removal of all imperial consequences, be it social, economic, political, cultural, or linguistic. This definition is more acceptable because it includes the colonizer and the colonized in some respects. To explain the idea, there are economic, social, political, and attitudinal transformations that take place with both the colonizer and the colonized. This definition provides a broad methodology to analyze both the perspectives in an equal space. However, the definition gives a wrong impression that history can be reversed, or to be more specific, colonial history can be completely erased. So, decolonization is not about completely removing all the colonial remnants in the cultures of the colonized. It is a conscious understanding and awareness of the evolution of cultures. Post-colonialism and decolonization are used in post-colonial theory to describe the resistance against class, race, and gender oppression. Decolonization seeks to remove all colonial forms of thinking and to revive the native, local, and vernacular forms of knowledge, questioning the European structures and epistemologies. Decolonization has resulted in the revival of spiritualism and mysticism as forms of knowledge in post-colonial societies. This had been rejected by colonialism scientism as primitive. Decolonization is thus a critical methodology. Hope the concepts are very clear to you. Thank you.